Step 3. Made a decision to turn our will. Hold on. And our whole motherfucking lives. Our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. I think it's easier in the steps, instead of saying what I say in a lot of videos, made a decision to turn our will over to the, and our lives over to the, why do I have to keep reading this? Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, universe, source, spirit of the sunlight, whatever you want to call it. I think it's easier to just put God, and a lot of people, this is the thing, a lot of people identify with it. They know what we're talking about, but then at the same time, they resist it and go, see, I knew it was a religious program. It got me with the God thing. Not as, but nobody's reading after that. God as we understood Him. What is my higher power? It's not the big sky daddy. It's a feeling. It's a internal knowing that I have and is personal to me. So, made a decision, turn our will and lives. There's a third step prayer that comes right after that. And then again, prayer. You're like, I fucking told you this is a religious program. Stop trying to convince me it's not. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just reading what's in the book. And it literally says, Bill Wilson was like, if this is a motherfucking religious program, I'm not into it, okay? I don't even like this shit. I'll read it again if you want. But it's in there. Religion, like the idea of religion he wasn't down with. But when Ebby said, why don't you come up with a concept of God that's personal to you? Doesn't have to be the religious God. Come up with something that's personal to you. A higher power. It's just something. So once you have this willingness to have this understanding of something that's greater than you, and then that's what you keep, is that willingness through the 12 steps like I talked about in step 2, then you have this idea that I will surrender my will, because my will, my thinking has not been working. I keep getting drunk. And surrender my life, which is huge. And even as I think about it now, my whole life, but now that I've gone through the steps, and I'm going through the steps again, and I'm going through the steps right now, it is my life, because my sobriety depends on it. And that's my life, is, I've got my faith in my sobriety, because without my faith, I don't have sobriety. And then comes, all the other things in my life. But my faith and my sobriety have to come first. So I have to make that decision to turn my will over. And don't think of it, because I have to think of it like this right now in this moment. I don't want to turn all of my will over and all of my life over to the care of my understanding of God, my higher power. That seems like a lot. But remember, just be willing to. This is we've got to do something that works. And what we've been doing with our alcoholism and our addiction isn't working. So how do I turn my will over? I ask. I put it out in the universe. I manifest it. However you want to look at it, whatever terms you need to use that fit in specific for you, because that's the thing about this program too, this book that people don't talk about, it's yours. My sponsor has never told me, Jody, I asked you to do this homework for AA, I asked you to write down these things, but you didn't do it right. She asked me to write down a bunch of stuff one time, I didn't even write it down. We verbalized it. And then when she didn't ask me why, I told her, I didn't feel like writing it on paper. I just wanted to tell you out loud. Get with a sponsor if you are going to go through this and get a sponsor. There's no judgment. I've committed myself to meetings like boards, what is it called? A committee. So Women in Recovery Float Trip. I committed to that. I was on the board or whatever you call it with it, and I opted out. I decided to stop. I don't want to do it anymore. Did my sponsor call me and say, Jody, shame, shame, shame? No. I talked to her about it. I said, I don't feel like doing it. And she said, okay. Because we are trying. And that's the thing about well, I can go into AA, but I'm trying not to like get it all about AA, but it's a bunch of fucking drunks running shits. Are we gonna be on time? Is everything gonna be like precise? When I went to register and I got my registration thing for this event that I went to over the weekend, they were all out of order. And the first thing I thought of, yeah, a bunch of fucking alcoholics put it together, you know? And then she said, well, we are a bunch of drunks organizing, you know what I mean? So it's not like there's this rigid fucking expectation of now we have to be perfect, because in the book, it says progress, not perfection. Like there's not this expectation that we have to be perfect. Anyway, I'm getting off of this, but I'm going to go through the 12-step prayer. If you are interested in hearing it, great. Hang out with me for a second as I go through it. If you're not, if you're going through this and going through the steps with me, this would be taking step 3. So we are now at step 3. Many of us said to our maker, as we understood him, it says it in here, God, universe, source, sunlight of the spirit, whatever you want to call it, nature, love, I offer myself to thee to build with me and do with me as thou wilt. I know all this like old school language. Relieve me from the bondage of self. Love a relief from the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those that I would help. Take away my difficulties, that victory over my difficulties I'll be able to help. And that's the whole thing, is one alcoholic helping another. Of thy power, love, and the way of thy way of life. May I do thy will always. We thought, and that's the prayer. We thought well before taking this step, making sure we're ready, that we could at last abandon ourselves utterly to him. And like I said, it sounds like this massive thing. So as somebody who has 5 years sober and has gone through the steps and is going through the steps again and going through this, I went through the steps this weekend and going through them now with you. I'm a human. Turn all of myself over. Be willing. Be willing to say when things come up, to pray about it, to ask for help. It doesn't have to be to a higher power necessarily if you're not into that right now, but call somebody and just ask for help. Tell them how you're feeling. Get on the phone with whoever you trust, or if you don't have anybody, you can always DM me. And just get it out of you. Whatever's going on, just get it out of you. So it's just the willingness to be able to surrender your will and think of the way you've been doing life and a new perspective on, okay, I'm willing to give it a shot to try to do something different, because what I've been doing, my will has not been working. So let me try a new approach. Let me try a new perspective on something greater than me, because my will, it's not doing it. I'm still getting drunk. And I try and I want to be sober. I don't want to do this anymore. But at this point, I don't know how. I'm lost. So let me put my will, my try, all of myself, and turn it over to whatever I think that may be something out there that's knows better than me, that can do better than me, because right now I can't do it in this area. And it says in the book too, there's other areas of our lives that we can manage and we do have discipline over, whether it be a job or your role as a parent or whatever it is. I do have discipline in the areas, but God, universe, source, hierarchy, whatever it is, please take this and I turn this part of my life, my will in this part of my life, over to you to try to get some kind of relief in something different than what I've been doing. And that's the point of step 3, is the willingness, a bunch of snow fell, to turn my will and my life over to my idea, Jody, my idea of my higher power. It's not yours. And if I were to tell another person and they say, well, that's not how you do it, it doesn't matter. Boo-boo. Have your own opinion, thoughts, and ideas. My conception of the higher power Mine. Just be